Like notes through the hourglass, these are the songs of our lives. Welcome to the latest episode of Songs of Our Lives. I'm Brad Rose. I am a musician, a composer, a writer, the founder of Foxy, Digitalis, and someone who thinks about sound and music probably far more than is healthy. Each week I have on a guest and I talk to them about the songs and the music that has made a mark, left an impression, all of the above. This week I am really excited to have Niecy Blues, whose debut album, Exit Simulation, is out on Kranky on November 10th, and it is absolutely one of my favorite records of 2023. It is so good. I can't recommend it enough. This was so much fun because, you know, on some of these episodes, it'll be somebody that I've known for a while and we have a history and we know each other and it's like old friends having a conversation. But other times, like this episode, we don't know each other at all. We've literally never talked, and this was even set up through her publicist, or the records publicist. And so we had not interacted directly ever before this. So it's like, got on the call and that was us meeting for the first time. And we had so much fun. And I learned so much more about Niecy's work and how they got to where they are and all of these things. Yeah, it was a delight. A fun kind of side note is that Niecy grew up in Oklahoma. And so that we kind of talked about that a little bit. And I am so determined to somehow get her Oklahoma homecoming show to happen here in Tulsa sometime in 2024. So it's good to have goals. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but if I were, that would be one of them. So we recorded this on Zoom a couple weeks ago. Like I said, it was so much fun. I hope you all enjoy it half as much as I did. My guest today is a musician, a singer, a songwriter, and they have made one of my absolute favorite records of 2023 with Exit Simulation. So welcome to the show, Niecy Blues.
Hello. Wow.
How's it go?
Big. Thank you.
When I first heard it, it just kind of stopped me in my tracks. So I guess, I want to ask about that. I think one of the things when I was reading about the record, the thing that I keep thinking about is your quote in there that says your first experience with ambient music was church, which I'm really curious about that and really interested in that. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I just remember being in church and feeling most connected, when it was praise and worship time. And specifically the worship music, which was this droney kind of slow swelling guitars and vocalization, a lot of ad libs, and just kind of everyone was going with the flow when it came time for the worship music. And there was always a section towards the end of it that it was just everybody was just in it, and I remember feeling this just feels like a hug, And I don't think I didn't know what ambient music was until I was in high school, I think, because I wasn't allowed to listen to any secular music at all. So, but then I came across that, and then I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of how I feel when I listen to worship music at church, when it's just swelling and a lot of delay and so. Yeah.
So do you feel, so I kind of grew up in church. My grandfather was a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my mom's dad, but then my dad he was a heathen basically. But yeah, that feeling, I never connected a lot with church except for some of the music, like, and those have been things that stuck with me. And so I'm wondering, like, do you feel like those experiences and like those, like, that's something that sort of you channel into your current music, like that you're writing, like some of the, like those connecting to those feelings and those emotions?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I do. I think it makes it easy to kind of let things flow when I have little structure, like when I'm not trying to work within a certain confine. It's I just find it easier for things to come out that way. And I think that's pretty much the approach I take with making music, is like, I don't necessarily go in typically having an idea. I would like to move in that direction, like be more kind of, but like with this particular record, I didn't. I was just kind of, I was just making whatever felt good. And yeah.
And what is it like so one of the other things, among the many things I love about the record, is the people who play on it, like the collaborators. It's unbelievable. Like, you've got some amazing collaborators on there. Working with some of them and like those sessions, was it kind of like, did you just kind of let people do their thing?
Yeah, it was, honestly, there's a particular track that has like a lot of like those collaborators you're talking about on there. And honestly, like, I'll speak to that particular track. It really took a life of its own. I hadn't intended for it to be that. It was just, I think I had like a bass production that was just like me on the bass, and there was like some synths, and then it was like the vocal part and the guitar part that was looped. And then I was like, it would be nice to have, some sax or something on here. It could be nice to have some flute. So I did reach out to my friend Isha Mars to play the flute, and I was in LA, and I was like, yeah, come through. And she came, and it was insane. I mean, I did not expect that. Like, she just kind of did, like, she just kept going. Like, we were like, we got it. But she was just like, she just kept going. And it was just like, I could tell that like the spirit of the song had its own, I don't know what to say, how to say it, but I guess it kind of took on a life, and it drew people to it. And so, and I remember Kia happened to be in LA at the time, and I was like, I remember one time you told me that you played the sax. So what if you came and just added some sax on here? And she was like, well, yeah, I'll do it. And so she just came through it, and she was just like, I was like, okay, and then Karan Shahichi, I knew I wanted her to play keys, but she like came, and the same thing happened. It just, I didn't have a specific direction. I just kind of let them play. And then I think I took just the basic version, like that didn't have anything else on it, to my friend Duran Bernard's house. And I was just playing some other songs, and then he stopped at that song, and he was like, wait, can you just airdrop that to me real quick? And I was like, sure. Airdropped it right there on the spot, just started singing on it. I was like, okay, I hadn't had in mind. I didn't think about having another singer in mind to sing on it, but it just happened, And so yeah, I think like that's a song that kind of, it just took a life. It just did what it needed to do. And I was in awe of that. So yeah, I think that was a lesson for me. Like, sometimes get out of the way and let the things let the things create what they need to create. So yeah,
that's got to be an unbelievable feeling to see in real time people respond to something you've made like that.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I do feel like that particular song, that song was the song that I knew I was working on an album. At first, I wasn't necessarily working on any body of anything. I didn't work nothing. But when I started working on that song, I was like, maybe I'm making an album. And so it's funny that full circle, like that's kind of like the last song that was recorded with collaborators and things. And then it just, again, took a life of its own. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I want to go back a little or a lot further. I don't know. Because as we were talking about before we kind of got on here, so you grew up in Oklahoma. I'm in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
I was going to say there's not a lot of us. There's plenty of us around, but so when did you leave Oklahoma?
I left Oklahoma when I was like 14, and moved to Columbia, South Carolina with my family. My dad, he wanted to move somewhere that was kind of near his family in Southern Florida, but like not too close. So we found like the medium to be South Carolina. We already had friends here. So yeah, we just moved. And it was definitely like a lot different. I mean, the town I grew up in Oklahoma was like tiny. I think we had 3 high schools, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Eisenhower, Lawton High, MacArthur. Yeah.
And it's like a military town.
It's
right?
a military town. It's just like a bunch of people who were not from there.
right.
But then like people stay. I mean, we still have family friends who stayed, and we were there for a very long time. My parents were there. I want to say they were there maybe 15, 20 years, something like that.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a peaceful place. Not much happening, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get outside of Oklahoma City or Tulsa, it's pretty sparse.
Pretty rural, you know.
But, that's a lot of places, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you get outside of the city, it's rural is rural in a way.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful place. I go back whenever I can. I've been going back since maybe 2019. But it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe someday we will get you back here to play.
Yeah, I would love that.
That would be really cool. Well, okay. So that's a good segue since we're talking about the way back when. And let's talk about what is the first song that you remember.
Okay, first song that I remember. This is hard, but I think it's Yolanda Adams' "Open Arms," because I think it was like the first track. I forget the name of the album, but it was the first track, and I remember it was always in the CD player in the car. So every time that they turned the car on, it would be that song. I knew the and everything. And that's like as far back as I can remember, really. Yeah.
And you said that like you weren't allowed to listen to secular music growing up. So
no.
Yeah.
No. They were like, no. What do you have in your headphones? And I'd be like,
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of intense, you know. It was kind of intense. My older brother and we used to like sneak around and listen to secular music sometimes. And
did you ever get caught?
Not really. We didn't get caught. I think they knew. They probably knew, you know. Yeah. And I'd like play something out loud accidentally and be like, "Oh no, this is my Christian song. This is from the Christian music." We had a network, Christian network that we used to watch. Like it was like a whole satellite. Like it was its own like dish network, but this was called like Sky Angel Network.
Oh.
And they had a Christian music channel. And so I would just be like, "Oh no, this was from the Christian music channel." Like
Well, I mean, that was the thing. I mean, so a lot of, I mean, probably still now, I don't know, but I remember it was like a lot of the Christian music, it sounded like a version of the secular music. So you could, it's an easier sell than maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Sky Angel Network. That's like a cool album title. I'd never heard this, but Yolanda Williams, man, she can sing. So
oh yeah, Yolanda Adams. Yeah, she's incredible. She's incredible. I always say, yeah, R&B is lucky that she stayed in the gospel world because she would have
she would have taken over.
Yeah. I love Yolanda.
Do you still like listen to that music? Like
I do. I love me some Yolanda Adams. I still love a lot of gospel music. Honestly,
awesome.
I listen to it all the time. Mm-hmm.
Well, from there, okay, so that's all the way back. But what kind of change in speed here? What is a song that makes you cry? And are you a cry, like you're a big crier?
You know, I'm learning to be. I am learning.
I like that answer.
Sorry. I'm learning to be higher. I think it's taken some time, but yeah, I will say what the song that makes me cry right now is, and I will say it's The Consequences of Jealousy. It's like a Robert Glasper, Michelle, and Deji Ocello. I never know if I'm saying her last name.
Yeah, I did like a review on, I used to have a daily podcast where I did a review, and I did her new album, and I was just like, I'm butchering this name. I'm trying.
It's Ocello, but I love her. Love her. She is a big inspiration, like for.
Oh, I think she's like one of the greatest artists.
She definitely is.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that song in particular it's from, I think, Black Radio, the second one, I think, and it just, I don't know. Every time, it just gets me.
I feel like this is one of the most interesting pieces of music that's ever been written, that sort of explores the like depths of jealousy.
Yeah,
and like
exactly. And it's just so like deeply, you just feel what she's saying. You know, she's like, you know, I offer you, my devotion and all this, trying to make it easier for you, and then like this person is just not able. Yeah. And it takes you on a journey, because it starts out and you're thinking like, oh wow, this is really one thing, and then it's like, oh man, this is getting kind of dark, and this is getting intense. Yeah. And then at the end, she's like, when you learn, I'll be gone. She says it in this tone that's just like, I'm like, oof, I feel that. Yeah, her music makes me feel in a very deep, real way. So I'm very grateful for her.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. Her record this year is, speaking of some of my favorite records of 2023. Whew.
Yes.
I love her too. I was really excited when I saw this on there. I was like, oh man, anytime I get a chance to talk about her, I'm excited. So thank you. Well, on the flip side of that, what is the song that always puts you in a better mood?
Kitty Cat, Beyonce. Love it. I love that song. Justice for Kitty Cat. I would love Beyonce to perform that. Beyonce does not. So Beyonce.
Oh, really?
Please. No.
I didn't know she. Oh, yeah. No kidding.
I love that song. I love that album, B-Day.
Yeah, it's a great album. I love, God, her vocal runs on this song. Every time I can totally see how this song puts you in a better mood, because it's when she just kind of it's just like, whew, all right, life is okay.
She's like, I can't see that. It's just like, it has a groove, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so good.
And that Pharrell production, I'm a sucker for Pharrell production.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't go wrong. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is like one of the fun things about this is, so when, I get the list of songs and it's in whatever order, and then I start to try to figure, I'm like, what could this be for? What could this be for? And this is one I actually got right. So I never get them right, but and that was only because I put it on and I was kind of in a bad mood when I was like going through, and I put it on and I was just like, oh, I can't be mad.
I mean, Beyonce and the Neptunes, a great combination.
I know. Yeah, she needs to do this. Oh, I'm disappointed now.
I know. I'm like, I went to go see her on this Renaissance tour, and I was like, please. But no. She killed the show. Was incredible,
You didn't miss it. Like, you missed it, but you didn't miss it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay, well, here comes the big question.
Okay.
What is objectively, and I ask this with, tongue firmly in cheek, but what is objectively the best song of all time?
So hard.
Because there isn't one. Like full disclosure. Like,
there's not one. I will tell you what today how I feel. Today, I will say Syreeta's "I Too Am Wanting." It's beautiful. I don't even have a lot of words for it. It's just like her voice.
Oh my gosh. I hadn't thought about this in a while. And then I just, every time I listen to it, I feel like I'm just like enraptured by it.
Okay.
And just.
Yeah. I mean, it's even like the end where she does these like vocalizations that are just like these high pitches, but they're like stacks on top of it's. I don't know. I mean, Syreeta is out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you first heard her music?
Good question. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of new to Syreeta. I feel like maybe I heard it many years ago, but didn't know it was her. And then I was conscious of who she was in maybe like 2019 or something like that. And I was like, why don't we talk more about Syreeta?
That's what I was getting ready to say. I feel like she's one of those artists that should be talked about, you know, when people are talking about whoever. But, you know, like I don't even remember the last time I heard her come up in a conversation.
Right.
And that seems wrong.
Yeah, I mean, all the work she did with Stevie Wonder, incredible. I mean, they are a great duo.
Dream team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could listen to her sing anything, and
her tone is just very unique. Like, you know, it's Syreeta when it comes on.
Mm-hmm.
She has a way of being able to convey emotions that is just very like, it's kind of like theatrical, but it's so good. Yeah.
No, I think that's a good way of putting it. I find it. I ended up listening to the album a bunch of times in the last week because like I said, I hadn't thought about it in a minute, and I was just like, why haven't I thought about this? First of all, and second of all, let's fix that and just listen to it on repeat.
Yeah.
Well, I can't argue. I mean, yeah, I think that is you can easily make a case for that being like the greatest song of all time.
Yeah, I was like, hey, if someone rolled up, I feel like who would be like, this is bad? Like, no one, you know?
Right. Yeah. And if somebody's like, oh no, this isn't any good, I don't know. I got questions, and concerns. Well, what is the song that you used to love, but now you kind of find it a little bit cringeworthy?
Okay. Little Lion Man, Mumford & Sons. But they had me for a second.
I get it.
You know, I was into it for like a minute, but then I was like, this is really corny. But it's catchy.
It is. And it's like, they're one of those bands, and there's a lot of these bands around, but I always think of them, you know, like I think of them as like fast food, how, you know, it's engineered to make you like addicted to it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the music version of that.
No, it literally is. Like, so really, honestly, it's not my fault, right?
Right. No, I mean, full disclosure, they've got me a couple times too. And then it's the same thing. You kind of sit there and you're kind of like bopping along, humming along. And then like if you pay too close attention, you're like, really?
Yeah. It's all over the place too. So that, you know.
Yeah, I think they were a band. I feel like I'd heard them a million times before I realized it was who it was, because it was just everywhere. Yeah. And it's also really generic sounding. So I would have thought it's like one of those things. It's like, was this 5 different bands that all kind of sound similar? Oh no, it's just this one band.
Yeah. It's just this band.
Yeah. But you know, they billions of streams probably. So I guess somebody's doing something. to get paid.
I don't know where they are now, but God bless them.
Yeah. Well, you're not the first person that they got, and you're not the last. So it happens. Well, okay. Kind of on the flip side of that, or sort of adjacent. What's a song that most people, some group of people, I don't know what context you have for this, but people hate, but you love it, and you like unapologetically, you're like, nope, I love this.
Dang, I just have to. I think it's gonna be "Oh Hey" by the Lumineers. Listen, they got me too.
It's kind of this. It's kind of yeah.
Maybe I just have a thing for these like angsty folk. Like I don't know, but it's kind of like Fireside. It's kind of culty. You know what I mean? Like I'm mad.
Oh. It is kind of culty. Actually, now that you say that,
these people around the bonfire, and you're just like, yeah,
and even now, we're in spooky season, so like you could bring that into it, and you could really get a vibe. No, the Lumineers got me with Cleopatra, so I can't.
I've heard that.
Oh, I think it's the Lumineers. Shoot, maybe I'm making that up. Yeah, I get it. Like, and this was another song that. It's funny. I'd heard this a whole bunch of times. I don't know that I actually knew what this song was until now. Like I'd heard it a million times. It was the same kind of thing because it's everywhere.
Yeah, I belong to you. You belong.
Yeah, I think it's on
every fucking commercial.
Yeah, like every TikTok video, Which I mean, good for them. They're getting.
You know what? Maybe what it is that it also reminds me of like church music, like. I went to college. It was like this like kind of like Christian college, and they had like their contemporary music band. Like we had to go to this thing called chapel every Wednesday morning for classes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and the band, they were like a bunch of kind of like hipster, like they kind of like dressed like these guys kind of, and they kind of made music that sound like that. But I was like, I kind of dig it. Like if I'm gonna be in chapel, like at least it's not like, at least it's kind of interesting, I think that's probably what it is about that song for me.
I can see that. There does seem to be a sort of, music like this it's a very easy crossover to if you're like doing a secular version versus maybe a, and yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Cleopatra, I've got to look that up. I'm like, maybe it's not the same band. I think it is. But, and it was a thing, like I heard it on a playlist or something. I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I was like, oh, I think this is whatever. Sometimes you just got to go for it and just live with it.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's worse things. Like there's way worse. Yeah. So, that's funny. Well, are you a romantic?
I am discovering that, yes, I am. Okay. I didn't always think that I was, but I am.
Excellent. Yeah, I feel like I've been there. I realized, I don't know when it was, but I realized I did this. Somebody interviewed me for this, and I realized like, oh, I'm like really into like the doomed romance, like Romeo and Juliet. I mean, I say that as somebody.
Okay.
I've had a partner for like 20 years, and I have stuff, so it's like not like I've lived that, but I think anyway.
Yeah,
getting off tangent.
I mean, that's why like that kind of storyline is entertaining. Everybody kind of
right.
Yeah, I get the appeal.
Yeah, but for you, what is the most romantic song?
First Time Ever I Saw Your Face by Black. I think it's a cover technically, but yeah, it is. I think it's
a cover, but it's one of the, sometimes somebody covers a song and it's like, oh, it's their song now.
It's Roberta's song.
Yeah.
That song, it's so good. I mean, the songs are like, there's nothing wrong with this song. Like I wouldn't change anything. Like that song for me it's First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. It's just like, from the production, from the everything, and like the way that she's conveying the lyrics. Yeah. I mean, it's just the tone, even like the way it's recorded, like the sound of the recording feels really soothing. And yeah, it's just a beautiful song. And it's just, I don't know, it hits me.
I feel like if somebody asks you, it's like, what is it like to fall in love? It's like, listen to this song.
Yeah.
And this is what it's like.
I mean, the lyrics are incredible too.
Yeah.
The lyrics.
Yeah, it's funny because I knew it was a cover, but I never think of it as being a cover.
Oh, either.
Because it's like, I mean, it's her song. Like her, God, the performance of this, it is so, like you can make a case that this is the greatest song of all time. And I wouldn't argue.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's kind of like I was gonna say that one too. Yeah. So someone named Ewan McCall. Ewan McCall.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I either.
It's a folk song written by a British political singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Wow. He wrote it for a woman who later became his wife.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, so coming from that we know that place that would come from.
Although at the time the couple were lovers, although he was still married to his second wife.
Oh, well, all right, you win. It's in the streets.
Well, he was feeling some kind of way.
I'm so sorry for that wife.
Yeah. Well, this is Roberta's song now. So
right.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I love this song. It's some of the greatest stuff ever. And her voice in it is just like so smooth, and there's like this effortlessness to it that it's not like it's not effortless. It's but she makes it sound that way. Oh.
Yeah, and I think that like adds something to the song because it's just such a sure, like this person, like the lyrics feel like they're coming from a very sure place, like there's no question, you know. And I think that her way of singing it kind of adds to that.
Totally. Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah, great song. Okay, well, what is a song that changed your perspective on an artist? And this is always interesting because I always think of this as like changed it in a good way, but on one of these somebody did it the opposite way, which I was like, oh, I never thought of that. That's really interesting. So I'm curious to see where you go with this.
Well, I was gonna say Free by Destiny's Child. But I was really specifically speaking to Michelle Williams, who sings the hook or the bridge. And I think like when I was younger, I was like, I like her voice, but I just don't understand her like her in context of Destiny's Child. But when I heard that song, and then I think the next song on the record is also like lends itself to that. But it's like Michelle brings truth, she brings gospel, she brings healing, she brings like something that the other two can't necessarily bring to that group. Mm-hmm. And in that song, like she's just like she brings it home, you know. And yeah, so I really started to understand like why Michelle was a part of that group after hearing that song. And I definitely was like, okay, let me put some respect on Michelle's name for real.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite member of Destiny's Child? Can you pick? You don't have to pick.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like I guess maybe it was during the pandemic. I don't know. So my daughter's 10 and we went through this phase where we were watching on YouTube clips of The Voice Australia. Mm-hmm. And Kelly Rowland was a judge, which seems very random, mm-hmm. But she's so earnest. I loved it so much. And so like, I don't know. I have like a special place in my heart for Kelly because of that experience, but I can't pick one. They're all great.
It was great. I want them to come back. Michelle, I think Because I think like when I heard that particular track, and then like I was like starting to see it, and then the next track I think is Through with Love, and like she sings like the bridge on that as well, and it's like she just kind of like I don't know, her voice has a way of like punching through whatever wall you might have had the beginning of the song and the whatever, but by the time that bridge comes around, best you're gonna feel what they talking about. Shall get on that mic, okay? Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I really like that. That's good. I'm gonna have to go back and like listen again and pay closer attention because I really like that. I think that's a really cool way to answer this question too, to like hone in on something very specific like that. I love it. Well, what are your favorite lyrics? Whether it's the whole song, like a single line from a song, a verse.
This is hard.
Are you a big lyrics person? Because I know a lot of people like I don't pay attention to lyrics. Or I can't understand lyrics.
I'm a lyrics person. Yeah, I used to like when I was in like middle school, I used to just like write lyrics, like other people's like songs I really loved. I would just like write them on everywhere. Like if you look at math sheet or like whatever, it would just be lyrics. So I've always really loved lyrics. But I find that the lyrics that really just are easy to understand are the ones that really just punch through and really hit me and really mean and stick with me for a long time. And I don't know, this is such a hard question. But on today, I will say for the time in my life that I'm into, right now, my favorite lyrics are from Bjork's song, All is Full of Love.
That is such a good song.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like she has some of the best like love songs ever.
Yeah.
Like I think about this and like Hyper Ballad. But
and anything on Vespertine.
Oh my God.
There's so many good. Yeah. But I think the lyrics are so interesting on that because she's just like she kind of talks like people write about love, people say things about love, people are like, oh, love is everywhere, but then she specifically is like, maybe it's not coming from the source that you poured your love in. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like let's take it a step further and talk about that, because maybe you're not able to choose, maybe you're not seeing, maybe you're pouring in the wrong person, or maybe you're not, Yeah. Yeah, I just think that is such an important thing to think about too.
No, that's a yeah, that hit. I know I've had experiences recently with like friends where it was like I was putting all this stuff in and then it was like, but I'm getting it. It's somebody like, why am I not focusing on this person who's actually putting their, it's like, I know how it feels to be on that side of it, of like, you're putting it all in and not getting it back. It's like, I don't want to be that person to somebody. And yeah, that's great that this is the lyrics. My note on here is one of them. It says, it's like there's this symbiosis with the sound of the song and the lyrics that I feel like it just, amplifies every word she says. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This song's so good.
It does. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Even the way she kind of like starts vocalizing towards the end.
Oh my God. When she starts doing the like all is full of love part and it's like going like all around and it just feels like this whole thing is like wrapping its arms around you.
It is. Hell, that could have been one of my songs that make me cry too. But yeah.
I know that I had when I was doing this, it was like, oh, well, this song could go here or here or here. But then, you don't want to not waste an opportunity to talk about songs. So I was like, I got to pick one place for it to go. I'll pick something else. Well, I like that. I like that a lot. What is the last song that you completely fell in love with?
I would say Kate Bush's Sensual World. The title track, I think the album was called Sensual World.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't I've been slowly working my way through Kate Bush's discography for like the past few years or so. But that song, I was like, oh my goodness, it just makes you move. And I like the lyrics a lot. You can tell, I come from a theater background, and I also love period pieces and like classic, literature to a degree. I do enjoy it. And the lyrics feel like something like written out of like a book, which makes sense because I think she also was a person who really liked, like Emily Bronte and stuff like that. And am I saying that? I never know if I say that name. I think that's right. Yeah. That's how I say it. So yeah. Not that I'm an expert, but that song, I remember I just kept playing it over and over again. And the video, I really love the video a lot. The video is really cool. Yes. I love that Kate Bush is she just is. And I've always, like, I looked at her, and that's kind of part of my studies, is just like what makes sense for me in terms of blending my love for theater and background in theater with what I do now. And I think Kate Bush does such a brilliant job of doing that. And that shows in that video as well. Like, it's stunning. And I love when people like they vocalize and they're humming. I love humming in songs. And like she does like a kind of thing in the song, and that repeats, and I love it every time. Like every time I'm just like, yes. Yeah. Yeah, this is such a good song. I love Kate Bush so much. And I always think she's like one of those artists that I just really admire, because and I feel like I look up to, and it's because of, as an example of like you just doing your thing and sticking to it. And it's like, no, this is, and how she does everything. Like, it's like she like writes it all. She owns it all. She her video, like, not that I know Kate Bush, but like her videos and her performances, it's like, it feels just like this natural extension of who she is. And I think that's like such a powerful I do too thing. I really take inspiration from that. And to think, and I always think about that too, how she's been doing, she's been doing it for a long time, since, the 80s, but as a woman in the 80s, how much harder that, God, to just stick to your gun and be like, no, I'm doing this. How I'm going to do that's a lot. That's amazing. Yeah. No, I listen back and I'm like, I'm surprised this was accepted in this time. I know people back in the day were like, what is this? Like, why is she singing like this? I know. And she was just so far ahead of her. Yeah. So, yeah. I know. I was glad to see that she kind of got a moment, like the whole like Stranger Things. It was weird and random, but I love that she kind of got this moment of, and again, like I felt like she embraced it in this, like, she's like, yeah, cool. Like, I love that other people are just, and it was just, it's like, man, in certain situations, just ask yourself, what would Kate Bush do? And you can probably, well, that's awesome. So do you have a favorite Kate Bush song? Would you say this is your favorite Kate Bush song? Do you have what's the song that's like, I like that. Oh, is that Cloud Busting? I think so. I don't know. I like that song a lot too. Yeah. But I also really like Central World. There's so many. It's hard to pick. Yeah, it's hard to pick. That's definitely. Yeah. I think it's Cloud Bust. I don't know what. Oh yeah. Cloud Bust. Yeah. Yeah. Busting. Yeah. 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 I love it. So good. That's so good. And the video. She has some really cool video. Yeah, she does. Her whole body of work is just. It really is. Pretty unbelievable. Hounds of Love is really good. It's just, she is great. I know. Yeah. It'd be a lot harder to pick like a least favorite. Yeah, I have to shout out Kia, because she kind of put me on to Kate Bush, to be honest. Oh, nice. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, what is the best hype song?
Gotta say, Nuck if you buck. It's gonna get the girls every time. We're gonna be up in arms.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those songs. Like as soon as you hear like the first bar, or not even like the first note,
yep,
you know what it is. Oh,
yep.
I couldn't believe that that Diamond was 16.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Like that's unreal. How is she?
I mean, it really is unreal. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I have tapes of music, things I was doing when I was 16, and it's awful. I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, I couldn't do this now, but I mean, it's just, oh my God. What a.
Yeah, it's such a good song. I mean, it's like everybody's going to get hyped when you play that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love a song where, too, like I said, where it's like the first note, everybody knows what it is, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Everybody
knows. Let's go.
Everybody knows. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a perfect hype song. I have a playlist of hype songs, and I got to make sure this is on there, because now I'm thinking, I don't know. Yeah. I'm failing at life.
Everybody gets hype, especially like if you don't know about verse 2, Princess comes on. Oh yeah. We're getting hype.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like one, like every verse, it's just like one after another.
It really is. It really is.
Relentless. Yeah. Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, we're coming down the home stretch here. We got the two big questions left. At least I think of them as the two big questions. Other people may don't. But what's the song that means the most to you? And it's like not necessarily because of the song itself, but you associate it with someone or something, or something like that.
I would. It's Me, Myself, and I. Beyonce. I'm like very Beyonce down in this interview. But
yeah, I'd say
Beyonce, Me, Myself, and I, because my older brother Michael, he's like my best friend, and I just remember when he started driving, I'd ride with him, and he put that song on, and we'd sing it together, and then like at the very end, like the part where she's like doing all those back and forth runs, like we would take turns, like ping ponging forth. Like we would just like do it together, and that's just like one of my favorite. And to this day, we will do that. We will put that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I love that. How much older is he?
He's 5 years older than me. Yeah, he's 5 years older than me. So we're really close. Yeah.
Has your family or your brother or your family, like, have they heard your record?
My brother he's heard it. Yeah. My brother, a lot. Honestly, this record is partially dedicated to him. He is also a musician, and he kind of got me in the studio. He was just like, he was doing it, and I was going to be like, I want to do that studio, and he would take me, and he'd be like, well, why don't you sing on one of my songs? And he got me really. He's the one who really pushed me like to record myself. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, he was the first person I wanted to hear the album, and yeah, I mean, of course, tears because. He was like, you've come so far. I wasn't producing before, and he's like, I can't believe you're producing now. And yeah, so that's my big brother. I love him.
That's beautiful. That makes me emotional just thinking about it. My daughter and I did, so she's 10, and I put together this performance as part of this weekend of art and music stuff that was going on here this weekend, and there's a park in town that has this sound maze. It's called the Sensory Garden. But they have like all these instruments that are kind of installations in it. And so there's one that is it's like these tuned pieces of metal, like on a wooden frame. It's like they look like little cymbals. Anyway, I could put together this thing. It was a couple people performing in the maze, is open to the public, and my daughter and I performed together. And it was the first time she'd ever done it. We performed this score that I wrote. Mm-hmm. And it was like, took everything I had to keep it together, because it was like and so like hearing this, like talking about your brother, it's those things that's like everything. That's the best stuff.
It really is. Like I have a best friend.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I love that. Well, it's gonna be hard to top that now, but to follow that moment up. But what is your favorite song, Niecy Blues, as of this moment? Let's say.
Okay. My favorite song has been my favorite song since I first heard it when I was a kid. But it's the song by Terrell Ramsey called "Unconditional Love," and it's a gospel song, and I'll never forget trying to do those runs. It's like, I just want to do one. Just let me find one, you know. But the vocalization, like the technique, Jen Ramsey is an athlete. She's a vocal athlete. And also the music, the energy of the recording, because it's I didn't research where it was recorded, but I'm guessing it was recorded during a church performance or something, because you can hear people in the background, and then there's a choir behind her, and you could tell that she's singing with a mic, like a sort of mic singing, and it's a big space. So I'm guessing it's at a church or something. But the lyrics also are really like the way she sings the lyrics too. It's you kind of forget a little bit that she's talking about God and that it's like a Christian song, but it's like, yeah, it's such an intimate, like the lyrics are so intimate. And the way she's singing, she's able to like, she's got these different tones like throughout the song that she kind of flips into that it's always been so impressive to me. That she's able to like play with her voice in that way. So it's one of my favorite songs, and the recording just keeps going, and it has to like fade out, and I'm always like, wait,
just a little more,
what else she does, you know? Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, I had never heard this, and I really like what you're saying. Like, you do forget that this is like, you can forget that this is like a gospel song.
Yeah.
Because there's this universalness to what she's saying. And then, yeah, I mean, her performance is, I was listening to this and I was doing something else and I just had to stop. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, this is,
it kind of comes like, it's just like, she starts a song and it's like, you're like, okay. And then she's like, and then it keeps going. She's like, and she just starts like, going off, and I'm like,
it's like someone flipped a switch. Yeah, it's like someone flipped a switch, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, lights came on.
And then she brings it back down, and she's just, there's this longing in her voice, and like also, but like a feeling of like wholeness that she's singing about, she's experiencing. I don't know, it's just oof.
There's something really, I don't know, I don't feel like this gets talked about enough, but there's something really amazing to me, and I think this is like one of those things that's so hard to do, but when people do it well, you have to just kind of appreciate. But like, she takes you on a journey, like with like how it starts, and to be able to do that, and I love hearing it, you know, in different context. Like, so in the context of like, I haven't listened to a lot of gospel music. So like I said, I didn't really grow up in the church, and I mean, I sort of did-ish anyway. But like, for me, you know, this is something new to me, and it just, I got so much out of the song, like, that I didn't expect. Yeah. And it's because of how she is able to convey like this sort of spirit or whatever it is, you know, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, like it'll yeah, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's felt regardless of what you believe, you know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you were saying that earlier about, you know, like R&B world's probably good, you know, these, like, I think people forget, like, and I'm including that, the unbelievable talent that exists in these other worlds that we maybe, like, a lot of us, not talking about you, but like me, like, we don't know about, and yeah, like, you know, can get overlooked, and it's and so when I hear something like this, it's like there's, even if this is like not my world or whatever, there is something for me in this world that can be meaningful to me, and I think that is something that people should remember.
Yeah,
myself included.
Yeah, yeah, listen to other shit.
Yeah, exactly. Words to live by. Well, this was an absolute freaking delight. Had so much fun doing this. So we got to plug your album. It is out. I don't remember. It's out.
November.
Well, I don't. Okay, so this may come out after the album's out. I'm not 100% sure, but by the time you hear this, it'll either be coming out or be out, and you need to listen to it because it is so good. Are you doing any touring or anything?
We're in the works. We're figuring it
out.
I'll be out and about probably. I'll do some stuff probably in November, but then more stuff probably top of the year kind of situation.
Okay. Well, awesome. I will be on the lookout, and if you get anywhere close to here, I will try to come out, and then someday we need to have your big return to Oklahoma concert.
You gotta help me hook up the Oklahoma venues or something. Get something.
Okay. We'll stay in touch. Yeah, we will stay in touch about that for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I had a good time.
Once again, a million thanks to Niecy Blues for just diving in and doing this, and trusting me in this process and all of that. I think it was so much fun. Please check out Exit Simulation. Like I said, it is out November 10th, which it may already be out when you hear this. On Kranky, available on Bandcamp, everywhere you can stream it, all those things. Pick up a copy. It's on CD and vinyl. It's just so good. Oh my god, I love it so much. Anyway, that is it for this episode. As always, if you enjoy these and want a little bit more with each episode, more conversation, more questions, join the Foxy Digitalis Patreon, patreon.com/Foxy Digitalis. You get that. You get these episodes early. Plus, you get a whole bunch of other cool stuff. I think it's well worth it, and it really supports the cause and keeps this work going. Otherwise, you can holler at me wherever, Bluesky, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. Send me an email. Send me a voicemail. Oh, and don't forget to click on the playlist link in the show notes, and you can hear all of Niecy's picks, and I think you'll have a pretty damn good time. God, there's some great songs in there. So anyway, thank you all for listening. Until next time, keep on listening to whatever the hell you want.